developing. John Ralston has written about it. It's been the subject of op-ed pieces, and we decided to go straight to the source. Victoria Seaman, Assemblywoman, District 34, and a candidate for the state Senate in District 6, is joining us in studio, no less. Good to have you here.
Oh, it's good to be here, Kevin. I just love your show.
I got to ask you, this is something, it's come up before, but I've always, as I remember, and I've only been doing this for like 5 years, it's always with Democrats. Andrew Martin, Megan Smith, you know that situation very well.
Correct.
But now we're seeing this. With Republicans. Talk a little bit. You are running for the state Senate in Senate District 6, and now you have a primary opponent by the name of Irv Nelson, who sat in that very chair not more than a few months ago and tried to explain how he voted for the largest tax increase in the history of our state. He now says he is running in District 6. There's one problem. He doesn't live there.
That's correct. And I do live there. And I am the Assemblywoman for District 34. And Senate District 6 consists of Assembly District 34 and Assembly District 37. And it just seems like a very desperate move by the Senate Majority Caucus to actually have somebody resign their seat and move over to Senate District 6. They've endorsed Irv Nelson before he lives there.
This is the Senate caucus.
This is the Senate caucus.
Okay.
And actually, the Senate caucus, Senator Kefauver, Senator Harris, Senator Roberson endorsed him, who is actually running for Congressional District 3. They've all endorsed him before he lives in the district. It's a desperate move. He voted with the Senate Majority Caucus for the largest gross receipts tax that 80% of Senate District 6 voted against. So it doesn't surprise me, since I voted against it, that they would try to move somebody in who's going to vote their agenda rather than vote for the people of Senate District 6.
Now, it's a free country.
Yes.
And if somebody wants to move somewhere else to be in a congressional district or an assembly district or a Senate district, it's a free country and they can obviously do it. Is it your allegation that Irv Nelson is doing something illegal?
No, I am not. Senate District 6, or rather half of it, Assembly District 34, just went through having someone carpetbag into the district. She is now being indicted. She goes to trial in January. She was disqualified by a district court judge. However, our NRS statutes state that if you are disqualified by a district court judge and you receive the most votes in an election, you can still be seated. We saw that with Andrew Martin, Assemblyman Martin. So that is the problem. I won overwhelmingly. I had a 13-point deficit. It was Democrat district. I won by almost 13 points because it was a bipartisan issue. My district doesn't like people who move in the district and have them represent them for their own agenda. And this was overwhelmingly bipartisan.
Let me ask you, there are going to be a lot of people that say, well, okay, it's a free country. He can run against anybody he wants. What is interesting is that the Republican-dominated Senate caucus has already endorsed Irv Nelson. He hasn't even filed the papers yet.
He hasn't even moved to the district.
He hasn't even moved to the district, and they're already endorsing them. My question is, why are they doing this? Is this retribution for his support of SB 483 and your opposition, or?
Obviously it is, because I didn't vote the Senate caucus agenda. I voted with my constituents, because over 80% overwhelmingly in Senate District 6 voted against it. And now they're coming out and endorsing someone who doesn't live there. It's a desperate move. And I think the people of Senate District 6 need to know what is happening. And that's why I've come on your show today.
Let me ask you, what is it? Is there any recourse you have either via the Senate caucus or via because I'm sure you have some friends in the Senate that are Republican that you can go to and say, hey, this is dirty pool, or at the very least, it's kind of dirty politics supporting a guy that doesn't even live in the district.
Well, again, there were 3 senators who actually put out the Senate caucus endorsement. I've mentioned them: Senator Harris, Senator Keffer, and Senator Michael Roberson. So, right now it's up to the District 6 to see that if they want someone who is actually moving into the district for their own agenda. And that's, again, overwhelmingly, they voted for me against my opponent, Megan Smith, because they don't like people who just move into the district to promote their own agenda. They actually want someone who represents them. And that's a good question, Kevin. Is this a desperate move to have someone in there who will do their agenda and not the people's work?
Let me ask you, other than just going out and raising a whole ton of money to be able to get your message out, is there anything you can do? I mean, can you do anything through the courts? Can you do anything through the Senate caucus? Is there any way to change people's minds?
Well, again, I brought forth a good election bill last session, AB 177, and that bill clearly would have stopped what is happening now with the Senate Republican caucus. That would have stopped that and prevented that, because that bill, you had to live in the district for at least a year. They dwindled that down to 90 days and then killed it in the end. It also remedied the problem.
Who killed it, by the way? Who killed it?
That was Michael Roberson, the Senate majority leadership. But it died on the Senate. It actually died on the Senate floor. So, but that bill also remedied disqualified candidates. It was a great bill. Overwhelmingly, this was a very important bill because our election laws are very conflicted. And not only that, but we see a lot of what's happening with Andrew Martin and Megan Smith, and this remedied it. It was a great bill. It was overwhelmingly supported by the Assembly. It was overwhelmingly signed on by most of the senators. But in the end, it was killed by politics.
Again, Victoria Seaman joining us, the Assemblywoman for District 34. She's running for the state Senate in District 6, but now she has a primary opponent, Irv Nelson, another assemblyman. This one is running in Senate District 6. The problem is he doesn't live there right now, and he's already received the endorsement of the Senate caucus. I want to ask you about Michael Roberson, because Michael Roberson's hand is in a lot of different stuff. We're hearing all kinds of talk that those that supported SB 483, the largest tax increase in the history of our state, that there's going to be a tranche of money. I've been hearing as much as $70,000 that's going to be going into campaign coffers of some of these assembly and state senators that supported the governor. What are you hearing out there? And is it possible Irv Nelson's going to get a piece of that money?
I've heard the same rumors as you. I don't know any of it for a fact, but I do know that Irv Nelson is being supported by the Senate caucus. That's the reason that he is moving into the district. I'm not sure when he's going to move in, but he needs to move in 30 days prior to filing. But he actually is one of the reasons that he's doing this, I truly believe, is because he campaigned that he would not raise taxes. And he doesn't believe he can get reelected. So that is part of the reason that he went along with the Senate caucus, is because I believe that he thinks that people in Senate District 6 won't know that, he abandoned his district and he lied to his constituents.
I want to ask you about the district, District 6. We are assuming, and by the way, for those across the state, where is District 6 relative to Las Vegas? And what is the makeup of the district? I mean, we assume, maybe this would be a safe Republican seat. I don't know if it is or not. But talk a little bit about District 6, where it is, and the political makeup.
Well, when I spoke to Assemblyman Nelson before I knew he was running, he actually did say that he was thinking about moving to Senate District 6 because it was a safer district than his own. Actually, Senate District 6 is a 5% deficit for the Republicans. It's a leaning 5% Democrat district. It's in part of northern Summerlin going up to the northwest, and the southern boundary is around Alta. And you really need to go to the Nevada legislative website to find out if you're in the district, because it's a little cut here and there. But basically, southern borders Alta, eastern borders Torrey Pines, western borders the 215, and it goes as far as Lone Mountain, a little bit above that to Washburn. But again, you'd really have to go on the Nevada legislative website to see if you are exactly in that district.
You have allies in all of this. There are people that are supporting you, both in the Assembly. I know Michelle Fiore and others. Talk a little bit about their support, and can they help you at all?
Actually, I have a lot of support, not only with some of my Assembly members, but people in the community. They're just outraged about the gross receipts tax, because this is hurting a lot of people in Senate District 6. So I have that support, and I also have the support of my constituents. I have received an email from one of my Democrat supporters that said the Nevada Republican caucus is cheating, bending the rules to accomplish something they shouldn't. They are not supporting you because you don't vote party lines at the cost of the people. I also received a text from a Republican constituent that said Assemblyman Nelson is a carpetbagger. His own voters won't support him after voting against the people with the tax hike. So he's moving, and it is very troubling. And Kevin, it is very troubling.
So the bottom line is there's not really a lot you can do about it. He is going to run. Once he files, he's in.
Right.
He's going to probably have a good deal of money, and that means you're going to have to go out and raise a lot of money. Because this is not going to be an easy race. Although I got to tell you, defending the largest tax increase in the history of our state, to me, is an albatross around any candidate's neck that's going to be hard to get rid of.
You know, Kevin, I have to say I'm really engaged in my community. I have coffee with constituents almost weekly. I'm out there in my community, and really, at the end of the day, it's up to the voters. And I believe I have the support of Senate District 6, and I believe that the people will win this district for someone who will actually represent them the way that they deserve to be represented. You know, the mood across the country is anti-establishment for this reason, Kevin, because politicians are not concerned about what the voters want. And we saw that with the largest gross receipts tax hike in the state of Nevada. So at the end of the day, I believe that the voters will be with me, and I'm looking forward to the race.
It's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be very fun to watch, and we will be watching it. Victoria, as always, it's great to see you. Thank you for coming in.
It's great to see you.
By the way, if folks want to know more about your campaign, how do they go about it?
VictoriaSeaman.com. You can email me or call me. I'm always available for a quick chat or a cup of coffee, and we have you can go onto my website, sign up for my email list, and we have coffee with constituents, nonpartisan. We have all different parties that come, and it's just about community. So give me a call if you want any more information. Thank you.
Victoria Seaman joining us, Assemblywoman District 34. She wants to be a state senator in District 6, but there's a little problem. Irv Nelson has announced that he is a candidate in District 6 as well. Stick around. More to do as we continue. My name is Kevin Wall. The program is live and local now.